Melissa Maloney, the White House calling a lid before noon yesterday, sparking controversy over President Joe Biden's lack of urgency following the Hamas attack on Israel and calling his foreign policy into question. But now, with at least 11 Americans among the dead, will the president change his response? Joining us now is senior policy analyst at the Independent Women's Forum and Blankley Fellow with the Steamboat Institute, Carrie Sheffield, the founder of LegalInsurrection.com, and Cornell Law Professor William Jacobson. And here in studio with us is GOP strategist Krisha Lenzo. Good morning to all of you. Carrie, I'll start with you. You were at the White House when former President Trump signed the Abraham Accords, and now it's almost like the complete opposite with Joe Biden. He put a lid on everything yesterday, meaning he didn't speak to the press or anyone. He's going to speak today at 1 p.m. Eastern. What do you expect him to say, and what should he say?
Good morning. Yes, the contrast couldn't be more stark between former President Trump and the current administration. The level of moral equivocation that we're seeing, not only, I believe, from this current administration, but from the broader left and just people in general who are denying the humanity of these Israelis who were innocently slaughtered. Children, women, grandmothers, just indiscriminately. And so we need strength. Unfortunately, we had President Biden giving $6 billion to Iran. We know that Iran was involved in planning these attacks. And so we needed to see strength from Joe Biden. And I'm hoping he can rise to the occasion. But I do believe that Iran felt emboldened and incentivized to help plan this attack. And certainly that has been manifest in the lack of urgency that we see, not only from Joe Biden, but from the United Nations, Security Council, the lack of any sort of moral strength. And earlier in the show, you guys did mention that, the United States is deploying some naval assets. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's all too little. It's all too late.
Yes.
There is no moral equivalency. There's no hemming and hawing and claiming that there's, colonization happening here. This is cold-blooded murder.
Yeah, it's absolutely horrific what is happening. William, you're a professor at Cornell, and we're seeing things like this on college campuses. 30+ Harvard organizations blaming Israel for the Hamas attacks. It's unbelievable that we're seeing this. What do you make of this?
Well, this has been a long time coming. The campuses a long time ago turned against Israel. You've got groups like Students for Justice in Palestine who are simply terrorist supporters. That's all they are at this point. So that 30 groups or however many groups it was at Harvard would deny what we all saw, which is that this was an unprovoked attack by Hamas of murder, rape, torture, and kidnapping. That's what our campuses have turned into. These activist student groups will openly support terror and put the word justice on it. So, this is Joe Biden's base. This is who supports the Democrats. So he's got to deal with that domestically. Hopefully, he'll do the right thing and ignore these terror supporters in the midst of the Democratic Party and on campuses.
Yeah, Krisha, again, we talk about these terrorists. They went into homes of innocent people. They raped and killed women and children. And so, we have these students at Harvard and other campuses, and I just wonder if they completely understand exactly what's happening. So former Harvard President Larry Summers ripped Harvard for their lack of response, saying he has never been as disillusioned and alienated. So, Krisha, I guess, how do we distinguish, the difference between questioning of Israeli policy and neutrality for terror?
Well, unfortunately, Harvard is my alma mater, and I could not agree more with Larry Summers. I think this is absolutely disgraceful in terms of what they've come out and basically not said with respect to these groups supporting terrorists. There is no moral equivalency, as Carrie said. I mean, these people literally are going to homes, raping women, raping children. I mean, my heart bleeds for them, but it's more than just anti-Semitism. Everyone should feel affronted by what is occurring because this, again, is Israel's 9/11. They've called it such, and even in terms of the amount of Jews who were killed, I mean, it's basically the largest number since the Holocaust, and we forget that. And here we have Harvard supporting these efforts, supporting terrorists. It's unreal. I can't even fathom it. Elise Stefanik, a congresswoman who went to Harvard, she basically also came out and said that we should write in, people should be outraged. And I just still am in a state of disbelief.
Yeah, you see in New York and other cities, protests of people condemning Israel for this. It's just hard to believe. Carrie, according to the Wall Street Journal, you brought this up. Iran helped Hamas plan attacks in Israel directly after the U.S. unfroze $6 billion in Iranian funds just about 3 weeks ago. We're not hearing much from the White House on this. They said, well, there's no evidence that links this, that Iran actually did help them. But we have the Wall Street Journal with 4 sources.
Well, and they're trying to say that, oh, well, that $6 billion we gave them, it was used for food and medicine and humanitarian efforts. Look, I got news for you. If you got a $6 billion pot of money, you can shuffle money into another pot and use it to finance war, rape, and pillaging. So it's just, again, atrocious from the Biden administration. I'm also a Harvard grad as well. The only thing I will point out is that thankfully, there's been a counter response led by Harvard Hillel, which is the Jewish organization, which I was proud to sign my name yesterday publicly as a Harvard alum in support of Israel and to universally condemn this violence. So I think it's important for us to raise our voices. But yes, the fact that Iran, it's not just happening with Hamas, it's also with Hezbollah in the north. They're also financing this terrorism as well. They also did the same thing in Yemen as well. This is a regional hegemon who is spreading murder and terror throughout the area.
Yeah, absolutely. The world is watching and everything that the administration does. Carrie Sheffield, William Jacobson, Christian Lenzo, thank you so much. Appreciate it.